All right. Let's go ahead and get started here. Anything good? Nope, US. I mean, USP's not bad. In the grand scheme of all pistols, the USP is pretty good. Hey, dog. Anything in here being done? Ooh, a grenade. Should probably keep working on these two while I'm here. Alright. Anything? How am I on water? I have, like, not been trying to collect water for, like, the longest time. I should probably collect some water, I feel like. I've been doing so many maps without questing, it's just that sometimes you just suddenly forget you're running out of water. Alright. Hey, boo-boo. It's crazy how much of an afterthought water is now. I can just go entire, like, weeks without caring about it. Let's do, like, a quick water run, I guess. Let's stock up a little bit. The ye old mech trench. Hey, Dev, say Josh. Alright, there's the quests. That's what we're looking for. And what gun? Probably, I don't think, can we use SMG with him? Yeah, we can't. Can't use pistols either. What's efficient weight-wise? I don't think anything really at this point, right? It's really just 9mm. Let's just use an M4 then. 5.56, we'll bring 300, and then some meds. That should be good. Hey Delta. Hey Nathaniel. Alright. Yeah, shaders are the choke. Like, I was reloading shaders, so like it was going really slow. Restarted the machine. It's better now, but I will be loading shaders on every map, so it'll be a little chuggy at the beginning. Just a little chuggy. Alright, we will not be blowing up the radar tower today. At least not anytime soon. Those poor guys. Alright, bye, Mr. Cyborgs. Hey, Prisoners, how's it going? You wanna be free? There you go. Oh god. I feel like the cyborg should probably kill civilians too, right? It feels like they're probably, well, actually, hold on, let me rephrase here. If the civilians weren't cyborgs, why aren't the cyborgs killing them? Like, is it... I mean, naturally it's just an afterthought, right? But you kind of feel like the cyborgs should kill civilians. They do in the trailer, at least. Unless those civilians were also cyborgs. That's the kicker. Alright, we're doing data, we're doing all the classic three. We're doing data heist, we're doing plug pull, and we're doing the light the mech on fire. That plus getting 8 water should give us about 11 water, I think, this run. Should be pretty good. I made a mistake. All right. That was probably most of our ammo. Yeah, we're not doing well ammo anymore. This should be the only one we actually had to like go gunso for though. The rest should be much simpler now. All right, let's look for some water. So many more corpse piles now, my God. Why do these ones deserve body bags? Are they special? Those officers get the body bags, soldiers get just the pile of corpses. Down we go.
This should buy me some new upgrades.
HKs, oh yeah, water. I think 4 water is the threshold for HKs. What the? What? Did it just despawn in front of me? What the hell? Hey Gogo, how's it going? I mean, if they're doing a June patch, which they alluded to, right? I would expect the end of the month. Sort of kind of like this one, right? End of May. So like probably the end of June. Which will be very unfortunate, I will say, because I am moving around that date. So I will be offline for about a week or two. As everything gets sorted. Very unfortunate timing. But what can you do? Yeah, I mean, the downside of monthly content, I guess, is the IRL stuff that pops in occasionally. Do I have beds left? Okay, I do. Good there. It's not supposed to? I don't think... Yeah, like the little... I think the piece of cloth you're referring to, yeah, it doesn't have physics on it. It's more like a tabard too, like it's kind of like, you know, put like, you know, tightly or tautly against the actual, I guess, skin. You wouldn't expect... I wouldn't expect cloth physics for like this kind of garment. Like a cape or like a long tabard that would actually like flow a bit, yeah, sure, but I don't think most games usually do cloth physics for like things that are this close to the body. Alright, everything's on fire. Any water in here? There's one. I mean, they had the last 2 ones they need to do. Gusto, and then like I think after that it's all just like work on previous maps. I don't know, but like, yeah, I think like they have the 2 left, and then they're basically done with the current maps in the sense of like before they can do like touch-ups or reworks or so on and so forth. Any water over there? I don't think so. Probably just have to leave. I do not have a lot of ammo left. I have like 1 extra magazine basically after this one. I think I think that's the case, right? We have yet to see an instance of them actually like reworking a map yet, in any real capacity. So like, yeah, I'm fully expecting them to be like doing the 2 current ones that are in development, and then maybe touching up the other ones. If they are trying to release this year, I don't think they have time to do a full map rework. Or even expansions, right? I mean, they could probably do expansions, but like, it just... Like, how many maps can they do before launch? I would activate these towers, but I feel like I need to leave the HKs being here. Ah! Leave me alone! Hey, Reggie. I mean, like, they haven't said as much. It's like, if you go to their early access page and go to their early access FAQ, they say as such, right? But that hasn't been updated, I think, since September of last year, like at launch. So they might have changed their idea, but like that's what the current EA page says. So at least at some point in time, the intention was to do only a year in early access. If that's changed, they haven't said as such. I do think that they probably need more time in the oven, to be honest. Some more cooking. All right. Woohoo, water. Got like what, like around 40 now? I mean, yes and no, Reiji. I mean, a little bit more broken in the sense of like we have those new units that are definitely broken, like the Opals and Captain Chen. Yeah, and like I would. I almost want to say like this is just how I've noticed it. This is just like intuitively what I've seen. You get 3 big bumps as a developer, right? Especially like a smaller studio developer. You get the first when you hit early access, you get the second when you go 1.0, and you get like the third is arbitrary, it doesn't really depend on timing. The third is just if any major streamer picks up your game. Like, those are the 3 bumps you can kind of plan for, right? And like, you can't really plan for the third. You can force the third through sponsorships, but you can't really plan for the third. But the first and second you can plan for, and they've already like done a good job on, I think, on the early access page. But like, the big point is like, they have one more big bump, which is 1.0. Like, 1.0 is they need to make a good impression on the audience, right? If they release 1.0 and it's not like if it's meandering, it isn't received very well, there's gonna be the problem, right, of like it's gonna be hard to get traction again. All right, let's go. I have enough water now, right? 37. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just do quests too. We'll do quests focusing on water, I guess. Clear skies is great. Hey, Prom. I haven't seen enemies staring at each other in Scrapyard, Reiji. I haven't seen that personally. I mean, I believe you, but I haven't seen it personally. We ran Scarpet a few times last week and it ran perfectly fine. Had no issues with it at all. 2 days of water too, perfect. Yeah, I wonder what's going on though if they're entirely broken. I don't think so. Oh, I mean, High-Tech, yes. High-Tech, you can get the High-Tech module. That's not an issue at all. Oh, that reminds me, I probably need to do that too. Kill a helicopter this today. A extraction, I've heard people be able to do it from like regular vehicles. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I don't think so. There's been no A vehicle added, so that kind of leads me to believe that that quest is still incompletable. Uncompletable? Incompletable. But like I haven't firsthand experienced it. Alright. Not Scar. Not for this map. Actually, we're killing water thieves. It might be the Scar. Hey, Game Shift. How's it going? All right, we're good here. Okay, maybe we don't need that much. I'm big. Yeah, that's probably perfectly fine. Bring a few drills too, just in case. And we have, just make sure I remember what I have. I have Water Wars, Scav Scrap, and then Clear Skies. Aw, golly gosh, thanks. The ambient noise machine, understood. What is your purpose? You make white noise for me. Oh, okay. Womp womp. Alright, these shaders coming in. They definitely need to do some. Oh no, you're perfectly fine. No, I'm just messing with you. You're fine. They need to do some like check to make sure that you have the shaders loaded in before you load into a map. MM2 with like hard-hitting questions. You're getting into a very philosophical argument of what at a certain point is the robot alive, and it's going to change drastically person to person. I don't think there's a good answer, right? Well, Jake, it's more in the sense of just like at what point in time do you consider intelligence consciousness? Right? Like we draw the line right with animals too. Like you wouldn't. You might call a dog intelligent, right? But do you call a dog conscious? Like, at what, like, do you consider, like, the fact if you can recognize an animal in the mirror as, or if an animal can recognize themselves in the mirror, does that consider consciousness, or is that consciousness? Like, where is the exact line where you say something's intelligent? Or rather, not even intelligence too, but conscious. It is aware of itself. It is fully realized. I don't know. It's a real gray area. It's and the line changes person to person too, right? Hell, I'm sure you can find fucking papers written on it. To be honest, go to like just look up philosophy papers on consciousness. I'm sure you'll find fucking plenty because philosophers love that shit. I mean, my answer is it's too complicated just to give a simplified answer to. It's literally something you can write a paper on. And I'm sure there's plenty of papers written on it, right? I could go into all the minutia, but like, it is literally going deep. Because it depends, like, the first thing you have to do is define consciousness, right? Like any good philosophy paper, you need to define your definition of the thing that you're trying to like show. Because like the first thing you need to do is have an established understanding of what consciousness is, at least from your perspective. Is it? I mean, I'm not seeing anything on my end. No drop frames or anything. Is anyone else getting that at all? Audio's a bit clippy every minute or two. Interesting. I did restart before this. Oh, hold on, hold on. Hold on. No, it's not repeating everywhere. It's let me know if it keeps popping up. It might have been shaders too. Oh, hold on. One more thing, NVIDIA broadcast. John, what it might be too, you know what it probably is? Because the shaders are having to compile as I'm playing the map, John, it's taxing my video card, my graphics card, and then causing my, essentially causing my, broadcast to flip out. Let me turn off broadcast for a bit while we're loading shaders. That should hopefully fix it. Yeah, that's, so I've turned it off now. I don't think I should be using broadcast anymore, but at least the noise cancellation is off, so it's no longer being taxed. If you hear noises, well, just let me know. But no, what's happening is we've had this exact same experience a few times before. It's just because loading shaders or compiling shaders is very taxing on the GPU, along with NVIDIA broadcast, which I'm currently using. When I'm having to compile shaders, it overrides basically broadcast and makes it freak out basically. So until I get shaders compiled in every single map again, it's gonna do this. This is what I get for going back to my ultra wide for the weekend. It seems that whenever I change my resolution on my monitor, it wants to recompile shaders. What were we doing? We're doing Water Wars, right? Yeah, let's go back to do Water Wars. Wait, where's my drones things too? Got distracted. Anyway, going back to consciousness. Is Mike better now? Is there any more static at all, or is it good? Okay, yeah, it's probably just broadcast freaking out from shaders. Yeah, I'll turn it back on next stream, or I'll turn it back on later once you have all the maps compiled, shader-wise. I'm not even sure of like an upgrade would even fix it, just because it's just on the GPU. It goes even further than AI too. Like consciousness and robots have been like a theme for forever, right? Even before AI, or before our current iteration of AI. And like the biggest thing is, right, is like where you're going to have the cutoff line of is like what is consciousness is going to differ person to person, right? Like you could say a dog is conscious, but like it's different, right? Like what I mean by consciousness when I say consciousness, right, is like thinking inside of your brain, like you know, our ability to, you know, talk to ourselves in our head. Honestly, just go fucking watch Westworld season 1. You can skip the rest of the show, but just go watch Westworld season 1. Yeah, they'd be able to self-extract, right? Like you could say like a dog is conscious. I wouldn't consider a dog conscious. Adorable, yes. Conscious, no. But like when you start getting into like dolphins and elephants, it becomes much harder because like they generally do seem to have high levels of intellect, and they do seem to like possess the ability to reason decently well. And like, but you know, if I go talk to someone else, right, they might not consider a dolphin or an elephant conscious, right? And at what, like the problem with robotics, right, is at what point is it just the programming, or is it actually like, you know, its own thoughts, right? Its own consciousness. Probably not, just because I generally I don't generally try to cover a lot of things that I think are underbaked or not fully realized yet. I could definitely see just like the current iterations of map interaction being like more of a test as opposed to like fully thought out. So it feels wrong to cover a half-baked mechanic like that. Well, I mean, like, here's the problem, MM2, right? Like, it comes into the whole theory of, like, are you know, living creatures, are humans innately blessed with the concept of or the entity of a soul, right? What is even a soul? Is soul just our ability to abstract our consciousness, or is soul something more? It kind of gets to the point of, it kind of gets into religion, right? Just like, do you believe in an afterlife? Do you believe there's a God, or do you just think that we're just animals that are just, because of natural selection, we evolved big brains and then survived and populated and, you know, persisted? So it kind of starts like getting into religion a little bit, or the concept of a soul.
As long as I'm the last one standing.
Because like you can argue, for example, that robots can never have a soul, right? Because they're made, they're not born. But like if you think we're just brains, right? Then like there's really no difference from us than us and a very, you know, high level sophisticated machine, right? One's organic and one's mechanical or digital, right? But like in essence, it's essentially at a certain point the same thing. We are just an insanely efficient computer. Why do I have HKs? I'm killing water thieves. Everyone should like this. Everyone loves when you kill water thieves. What are you talking about, game? Why do I have HKs? Am I doing too good of a job?
I don't know. Spread out.
Are you getting scared because I'm killing too many water thieves?
Taking fire.
I mean, well, Prom, I'm kind of curious though. Are you saying that things don't need to be solved, or things that, like, what is the solution outside of science and religion? Belief versus like fact. What's the third option? Is the third option just apathy? Or the third option just that who cares? Vibe. Well, vibe is kind of just belief, right? Like, vibe is just a very hip way of saying belief. I need to leave.
As long as I'm the last one standing.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, you could always just point back to, like, you know, what the hell? Faith or, like, fact, right? Alright, how to skedaddle? I mean, Prom, you have to understand, though, there's tons of natural biases in humans that help us keep us alive but aren't factual, right? Like, just go look at statistics, right? Statistics is basically about trying to remove the human bias from things, because we are naturally biased creatures. There are plenty of things that we just, like, we feel like we innately understand because they make sense from a survival perspective, but they do not make sense from a factual perspective. Man, I'm mad, sorry, we're good. I mean, stubborn by nature, I wouldn't say that, right? There's plenty of, like, inquisitive people, like, stubborn by nature is because you get older. Like, remember, kids are innately curious creatures, right? Kids will often put themselves in danger because they're curious and want to learn things. That's like the exact opposite of stubborn, right? They're actively trying to learn and engage with their environments. I mean, it still just boils down into like, you know, I don't want to use the term like fact, but just like fact versus belief, right? I think fact in this context has a negative connotation because it makes the belief side feel wrong, but like it's not necessarily fact per se. It's just more of like things that you believe to be true, I guess. I don't know. That is kind of belief though. I guess fact kind of has to be in a way like, yeah, like science. And like, you can say vibe too, but like vibe just condenses down into belief, right? Feeling. You feel like something is true, that is belief. I guess that's like, yeah, I guess that's feeling versus like proving, right? No, vibes is just the Zoomer talk for belief. You believe this vibe coding will produce like legible code. Didn't like, I haven't looked at it right, but it didn't like string theory get disproven recently? Ragey, that is actually a very interesting point though. I'm not saying you in particular, but like, there is like kind of a question, right? Is like, is every human conscious? Is consciousness like our frontal lobe in the brain? For example, right, frontal lobe in the brain is not necessarily for survival, it's mainly just for thinking. You could lose your frontal lobe and be okay, quotation marks. I'm not gonna talk about people in particular, right? But it's an interesting thing too, right? It's also a very dangerous mental place to go too, because it takes you to some very kind of it takes you to some very dangerous ideas when you start thinking about like, are all humans conscious? Here's the thing, right? People will make this kind of conversation, Jake, and then be like, because of this, you know, they'll put themselves into like this loophole where they're like, yeah, because, you know, you don't seem conscious, therefore you're lesser. But then it's just more in the sense of like, you can't prove it, so you just have to assume it to be true for everyone. Yeah, for sure. Biology too. Well, I actually think, John, I'm hitting him invisible drone. When you can find people who will twist what I'm currently saying into that argument, it immediately shows you kind of their baseline instincts of where they want to go with things, right? They are kind of, in a way, they believe something, and so they're twisting the logic, the words, the rhetoric to misalign, or they're aligning it with their narrative, right? When people start taking like philosophy discussions and twisting them to their rhetoric to make some political agenda point, then you know they're a bad actor. They're not interested in discourse or rhetoric or talking about like philosophy. They're interested about pushing their agenda. And in this case, it would be, for example, people who believe in eugenics. First, I mean, all the cyborgs have been so angry with me recently. Hey, Cled, thanks. Well, I'm sure that's like the kind of the question, right? Is going back to your original point. At what point do you consider I can think and feel, so therefore I'm a person I have consciousness? Like, at what point do you consider a robot to have that, right? How can you distinguish between the programming you put into a robot? Thanks, SpongeBob, appreciate it. And then, like, is it just the programming we ingrained inside of that robot? Or is it actually thinking and feeling? And it's like, it kind of ties in with the whole rhetoric around humans too, like, are all humans conscious? Because on a human level, right, because we're all human, we have to just immediately assume, yes, everyone has consciousness, because the opposite is just too dangerous, right? From so many different standpoints. But that argument, a lot more people become much more accepting of that when it's a robot, right? It's an it, not a they. I mean, it considers in your definition of evolution, right? That's once again, like, if you've never read a philosophy paper or book, it can be so fucking thoroughly exhausting because so much of the book and the talking is defining terms, because it's so imperative that, like, the people reading the media that you're talking about, or like reading the paper or reading the book, have an understanding of the terminology you're using, right? And so evolution would need to be defined in the instance you're describing, right? Because evolution means different things to different people. Because, like, for example, when I think of evolution, right, I think of nature. I think of, like, just natural evolution. It will, yes and no, Jay. It does make it makes the conversation very, not tedious in a way, right? Some people naturally will enjoy that, but, like, on a whole level, like, if you're not trying to have a philosophical argument, describing the words you're saying can get very tedious and very just kind of bogs down the conversation. In this sense, it's fine, because this is the discussion we're having, but, like, in normal discourse or conversation, if someone just hears you start describing words to them, it's very condescending. Yeah, that's a good old thing, like the Turing test. At what point can a human not tell it's an AI anymore? Hell, I mean, honestly, in a way, like, I'm sure you could put plenty of current humans inside of, like, a chat room and talk to, like, they can... I am sure there's already been plenty of instances where an AI has passed a Turing test. But, like, the problem I have, though, is that, like, it's so very thoroughly... To my understanding of AI, right? I am not sure if there's different models in this, right? But my understanding of AI is this. In the current iteration, learning language, like LLMs, right? Is that it's not intelligent in any way, it's just predicting the words that come next. It's like, it's essentially just a really good prediction algorithm, right? Where it takes your inputs and then figures out, based on its data set, what words come next. What the response would actually be. So, like, that is 100% not real intelligence. That is just almost like a very good mockingbird, right? A very good parrot. A parrot with infinite memory, basically, and the ability to essentially, like, respond to certain inputs with certain outputs. I mean, honestly, GameShift, though, looking at YouTube comments, like, unless you're, like, literally a talking head, everyone accuses you of using AI. Like, unless you show your face and talk and just constantly show your face every single time you do a video, they're gonna accuse you of using AI. And sorry, I'm not doxing myself. I need way more YouTube money to dox myself, thanks. I think it's time to leave. I don't feel safe anymore. Public IP, you're not real. Social security number, you're not real. Bank account numbers, or you're not real. The personal data? I'm not sure. What quest is that, Reiji? The train data is on just any of the containers inside of the scrapyard. Or the director side. Will we pass the Turing test? Yeah. Why wouldn't you? But no, like, the thing is, like, I'm sure plenty of LLMs, I'm sure, like, most chatbots can probably confuse younger people, or maybe just, honestly, more people than that, too, that they're actually real people. I'm sure it's already happened, so, like, I'm sure plenty of AIs have passed the Turing test. I wonder, like, what's the actual percentages, though? Is it just one person you have to fool, or do you have to fool, like, 95% of people, or so on and so forth? Yeah, John, I generally just choose, like, you know, I do sound different when I'm reading videos, because I'm literally reading off a script, and I'm trying to, like, do a narrator voice, right? Though I definitely do realize I probably need to add a bit more flair to it here and there, but yeah. I'm trying to do a narrator voice, but I'm also trying not to sound, yeah. It also, by the way, is just very hard to read a script. I think I am beginning to learn the words I need to leave out to, like, do scripts now, as opposed to trying to, like, there's certain words I just cannot make flow very well in scripts. Yeah, it's almost in a way maker me just trying on purpose to not sound flat. Hey Vinny, how's it going? Oh, VIP treatment? Oh, stairway. Oh, it's gonna be up in the upper area, Rage. You'll see a laptop somewhere, right? It'll be like around on one of those like, containers up there. But in the upper area near the door, there'll be a laptop around there. But no, yeah, it's Jake. It's a lot of me just trying to not sound flat, right? It's trying to me like, yeah. It's definitely an art and work in progress. Weirdly enough, when I was doing the Lordos video, it's actually way easier for me to speak or do a recording when I'm not doing my own voice. It's so fucking mentally weird. I looked it up too, but like I guess it apparently comes with the confidence thing. So you're like, the way it was described to me from like online, right, was that when you're not doing your own voice, you know you're playing a caricature or a character, and so you're not self-conscious about your voice, so you don't trip up at words as much. And like I believe that too. I'm fairly self-conscious about making sure I speak pretty well. I actually think that too, right? That might be part of it also. I'm too focused on what's the right word? What am I trying to say? What is it again? What is it again? Enunciation. Yeah, I'm too focused on enunciation. Because as you can tell right now, I talk pretty quick, pretty fast, and I naturally slow that down a lot. And the way I do it is I usually focus on enunciating a lot clearer. But I guess enunciating also makes it sound flatter or makes it sound more robotic, which is fair. I understand that. Because naturally, an AI is going to enunciate every single syllable, right? Yes, I said syllable. It's pronounced syllable, but I like syllable better. Syllable sounds fun. Numpad? Alright, no numpad, I guess. Yeah, exactly, Blood. 100%. Honestly, I should just start doing different voices for my, for my videos, and they would come out probably a lot. People would probably be mad, though, I will say. It would not make for very good white noise. Alright, that was Swamp. Let's do an elephant. No, but like, generally speaking, when I'm recording videos, it actually takes me a while to record because I usually have to record things a few times because I trip up on words. But like the Lordos video, the Lordos video was so fucking easy for me to do because I just like, apparently when I do an accent, it comes out perfectly fine. Or when I'm trying to do a voice. No issues at all. I mean, the only way I can probably not prove that I'm not a robot is to do a face cam, right? And then, like, even then it can still be fooled, right? I would have to show you guys so much to probably make it feel like I'm not a robot, but that's what it is. Just going into MM2's thoughts, right? At what point does it matter even more? Or anymore, rather. Alright. I think that's everything, right? Yeah. By the way, thanks for the raid, Larry. Got too bothered up with all the conversations. Yep, there's the shaders. So it shouldn't be going laggy right now, my voice, hopefully. It's still going through broadcast, but broadcast is no longer filtering out my voice for noise, so.
I hate the surface.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay, perfect. So, like, I still have it getting passed through broadcast. Yeah, it's just the loading. It's so my voice is still going through broadcast. I would have to bypass broadcast. I would have to broadcast or get past broadcast the entire way. I will set that up later. I'll make a note of that. I will get a keybind ready to hopefully change my input to be non-broadcast. They do need to probably do it, like, yeah. There's a reason why games have you compile shaders at the beginning for everything and not do it on a map basis. So they probably just need to do that, right? And like, they need to just like, yeah. Shader percentages, like have it load shaders once at the beginning and then be done. Yeah, unfortunately, this entire map's gonna be like that whenever I hit a loading area. Let me see if I can broadcast. Let me see, hold on. I can probably get around broadcast, actually. Hold on. I have to, like, go to my control panel and change a few things. Come over to here. Testing. Okay. So, can everyone still hear me? Can everyone still hear me? Yep, okay. This should be going through just my actual mic now, no broadcast at all. So it shouldn't be using GPU, knock on wood. Famous last words. And if you hear a lawnmower in the background, that's the glory of not having broadcast. It's pretty far away, though.
This is it. We decide what happens next.
But yeah, let me know if the clipping happens. Like, yeah, it's pretty far away, so it should be pretty pretty subtle. But no, I can probably set up a bind for this to make it toggle between the two. But you shouldn't hopefully experience any more audio clipping, knock on wood. Famous last words. I feel like they need to remove the slow ones from the map. Yeah, I mean, like, it is, yeah, it is what it is. It is probably a good thing to me to, like, to have, though, to, like, get off broadcast when I need to. They're so derpy. Anyway, where were we before all this conversation? John, I am very curious. So, like, I have set up my internet in the new place. Well, I know what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have probably a fraction of my upload speed. I made sure so here's the problem. If you're from Europe, you're never gonna experience this because naturally you guys have way better internet than we do. There is a problem in America where they do not value upload as much as download, right? And so cable companies will always give you a fraction of upload in comparison to your download. So I'm going back to cable for a bit, and I have done my best to get the best internet connection I have, but unfortunately it is what it is. And it should still be good for what we're doing here, especially with AV1. Because AV1 allows me to reduce basically upload speed with quality. AV1's great. But I'm essentially going from a gigabit upload to 40 megabits per second max, essentially. And that should be enough considering what I currently stream at to handle both Twitch and YouTube. But we'll see. I'll have to do some tests when I get there. But like, I literally had like their best plan, unfortunately. So, and there's no the fiber. I don't think there's fiber basically in the area I'm going to at all.
I think they spotted us. That's it for us.
Which should be fine. At the very worst, at the absolute very worst, the only I can see happening is I have to drop Twitch and not YouTube. But yeah, I can definitely handle one of them, but maybe not both. We'll have to see. Hey KVP. Is there enough there momentum? Do you think it's a little bit of a reach to go that deep into them? Do you think there's enough there for an actual video? I'm trying to like think right now is like what could I actually go into? Just go into like Masked Mans and Scav Girls melee kill animations, so they're obviously psychotic as shit. Yeah, there's only a few voice lines for each one. I mean, we could go over like a visual aesthetic, I guess. But
Hey, watch my back now.
But like,
As long as I'm the
I'm trying to think of like what I would have to say, right? I never try to make a video just to make a video, right? I want to have something to say, and I'm trying to think of like what I would want to have to say or want to say about these characters right now. I think I don't dislike the idea, but like kind of working into the few changes they made about Shaman so far.
Everyone for the sound.
Lava. But no, if they continue to elaborate on characters with like unique perks and skill trees, I can definitely see that being the case eventually. But like as of right now, like, so for example, Shaman in the recent patch have had has like a few perks now, very small perks, essentially working with like scanning and pinging and stuff like that. So If we see more stuff like that per character, I definitely think it could probably, you know, do pretty well. Or be interesting to talk about at least. You just want to like look at the barrel. Where's his eyes even staunch? Is just like looking down the barrel of the gun. The trailers are pretty piecemeal in regards to the characters. There's not a whole lot. Like they show off the characters, but the characters don't really do anything outside of like, yeah, not really much at all. I don't really think any of the trailers give kind of like, yeah, they don't really talk about the characters at all. They just show off like kind of at a very high level what the game's about, and then a few of them have gameplay. No, leave me alone. Ceiling drone. I will say that the one thing I haven't done yet that has crossed my mind to do is we have like deep dive for units. We haven't done a deep dive for like maps yet. I don't think most maps have enough detail yet to go in too crazy with it, but like the few touch-ups here and there with Mech Trench and Mesa, I think add a bit of more depth to the maps where they could probably warrant some covering. And not like a map overview in regards to a guide, but more of like a map overview in regards to like potential lore. Sorry, pilot. You're coming right at me. It was self-defense. Honestly, Cemetery, the problem with Cemetery though, Cemetery doesn't have a whole lot going on. Like, the maps I can think about right now are probably like Mesa and Trench, but like, I think Elephant a little bit. Cemetery just does not have enough to it right now to actually think warrant like any discussion at all. Like, you have the central atrium, but like, outside of that, Cemetery is pretty absent of stuff, right? In a way, like, the plastic chair, why are these still here in the future? The plastic chairs are eternal.
Wheel them down and we can break out.
Yeah, I just don't know. Can you hear it now? In the background? The lawnmower of doom. I mean, actually, Stairway's pretty self-explanatory, right? Duffs? What do you mean it's hard to explain what Stairway is? It's you just call it a stairway. I'm actually crazy. It's pretty close by now. I'm actually crazy you guys don't, like... Man, I guess my fucking noise filter on OBS is doing fucking work right now, I guess. I wonder if I could offload... Ooh, that's a good idea. Unfortunately, my streaming PC's graphics card is a Intel, but I'm curious if I like had an NVIDIA card, I could pass over the noise filtering to that. Well, Maker, you say that, you say oof, but the Intel card, the 750A I got, A750, is very good for streaming. Because it does AV1 super cheap. It was like 150, I think, and it was like, it's like the cheapest card that will do AV1 encoding.
Damn, close call. On a day close call.
And essentially, like, for those who do not do streaming at all or don't understand encoders, like, encoders are basically like the amount of data you need to encode and how well it does it right. And so, like, the traditional encoders use a lot of CPU and like they can bog your machine down, but they can give you very good visual quality, right? But the problem is the amount of upload you need to do for a stream. So it's very taxing on your upload if you don't have a lot of upload. AV1 gives you a good trade-off where you can still have very good quality, but have much less kind of bandwidth constraints if you have a slower internet speed. I'm not gonna go into that. I would have to upload. I can't remember, but I've had these settings on for like a year now, and I've forgotten what they were, to be perfectly quite frank. But like no, so like for example, I run because Twitch does not support AV1 yet for plebeian streamers like I am. Twitch is running off X264, which is just CPU encoding, and then my YouTube's running off AV1. All right. How are we on water? If you, Jake, if you want to hit me up in my Discord, by the way, I can go into detail about what my settings are currently, but I just can't recall right now. So hit me up on the Discord. By the way, description, there's a new Discord out for me. You can do exclamation point Discord or look in the description of YouTube video, and it's in there. But if you want to know like settings or stuff like that, I do. Just come talk to me in the Discord. We can do it off stream. All right, let's go into the cemetery, I guess, since we're talking about it. Yes, exactly, Vinny. Join the stream, like the Discord. But yeah, if you want to know settings or like if you want to ask me questions, like just come ask me questions and I'll answer them. Remember, small YouTuber and Twitch streamer, so naturally, if you ask me stuff, I will usually answer you. Let's go over to Scab Girl. Let's be sneaky. The small backpack is what we want. We don't really need ammo here at all. I guess we'll bring a little bit. We'll bring like some syringes because why not? And then RPK. Oh, this bugged again. Bring like 100 ammo. That'll be fine. That's on the right map. Come on, give me a cemetery. There we go. Oh yeah, and Jake too. If you're doing recording, yeah, do X264 for the recording. Like, I like AV1 a lot, but 264 will give you better quality. Just for live streaming, you kind of have to for live streaming, you kind of have to cheat. Wait, do I have 2 magazines in right now? Wait, hold on here. What is going on? Very, very curious. So very curious. Does anyone see the problem here? Anyone see the problem? Well, you bullied the dog today. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on where it is. Yeah, the door broke. So that's you know. We can probably lock the dog in there. So I don't think, well, this door would need to be working for that to work, unfortunately. There is a way to get the dog to commit suicide, basically. If you essentially aggro it, close the door in its face and open it, it will sometimes run off this cliff here and just instantly die. Now, you won't get the container for it, but it will just knock out the dog for the rest of the map, which is nice. Yeah. It's kind of buggy and it's hard to do, and the door needs to be working for it to work, but like, we've knocked out the dog a few times here. Just some weird bug with their pathfinding, where like, if they land on something, I guess, that's like, I guess a mesh and not a terrain, they just instantly die. Same thing with it's essentially the same bug with the opals, right? Where if they seem to land on something that's a mesh, they just die. Yeah, the opals are the same thing, right? The opals... Unfortunately, that door is closed. Bye, dog. Who's a good boy? Who's getting locked in the room? Anyway. Yeah, the opals, when they come crashing down, if they hit not terrain, they just instantly die. Alright. What's with the hands? Yeah. Just hit me up after the stream ends, and I'll send you some. I'll send you the info. Anything else? We have 3. We need 2 more. Or we need 1 more. They do look very grabby. Like, if I didn't... Oh, wait. For the stream? Maybe. What if... I am... Actually, hold on here. Bear with me. Bear with me. So right now, the hacking minigame is pretty easy. And like, it might be placeholdery. What if the hacking minigame for this later is actually hard? And if you get it wrong, the creature grabs you and tears you apart. Wouldn't that be fun? You have to. Oh, Jake, you're joking right now. Oh, but like, oh, that'd be so fucking funny. If it was like a not Simon Says, like what's it called? Like a pattern game where you have to like match the hands in order of what you need, like high five. You turn it into Osu. Anytime I have a mechanic, like, or something I want to add a mechanic to, I just like immediately just go to Osu. Because imagine just like casual players having to play Osu. For those who don't know what Osu is, just go Google it. It's essentially a game that like no old person can probably ever play. Because their hand, like their wrist would break. And also why? Osu is very evil, yes. I do genuinely think though that like small skill-based minigames are perfectly good and fine. I do think there needs to be probably countermeasures of the game like this, like to get around it, but like I do like skill-based minigames. And they don't need to be hard per se, because like just a little bit of tension when you're like, for example, the doors are great for that reason, right? the doors aren't too hard of a minigame, but when you're under stress, they can be hard. When you're getting shot at, or when you're under duress of like a grabber nearby, the doors can become harder, right? So like the mini game should basically have the barrier rate where like on a without any stress the mini game is pretty easy or like, you know, decent difficulty. But when the stress is up, it becomes quite hard. This fucking magazine, man. The magazine in the magazine. Yo, bro, I heard you like magazines. Be free. We have 2 bipods. See, now, like, it got rid of, like, the actual big one, but we still have the big bullet, like, the big magazine, though. We're definitely full, right? Oh, 100% we're full. All right. And we're good. I believe that's everything. Oh, we need. I think we need a book still, actually. Book. There we go. Go away. So that was pretty straightforward and easy. Skin barbecue? What? So love of variants or just characters? So yeah, the bag, the biggest thing about the bag, right, is it makes you, essentially, I think it basically kills the audio perception of you. I think we're at 3 so far. I think Masked Man, Bagman, and then Scatgirl so far. But no, the bag apparently helps the visuals a bit, but it mainly just cuts out audio perception. So we can run around and not be heard. I don't think we did it all yet, right? I don't think we have. I mean, it's got a good trade-off, right, Void? Like, it's very good for being stealthy, but like, there is a cost for having one medium-sized container with no large item slots, right? Like, if you're trying to do a quest, sure, but if you're like trying to pick up anything at all or like loot a lot, yeah, it's not great. And I will say, like, part of the downside of this is not realized. Like, if I was going to make the case that this rig is overpowered, It's more because of how small the maps are. Because, like, you can run through a map in a minute or two and just grab some containers, like, you can... Like, you're never generally going to fill up on this thing before being able to leave. Unless you're doing lots of looting, right? Alright. Mesa time. I disagree, but at the same time, considering we have no progression, it's really hard to kind of talk about like time credits and progression and map size. Because naturally they're all like weaved together into a very complex issue. I personally have a fairly decent gripe with the maps. If you're not going to make them big in regards to size, you need to make them pretty deep. And you know, like, if maps have to be small, you have to make, I almost feel like you have to make moving through them very slow, right? It feels wrong to just be able to like go Mach 1 sprinting through maps. But at the same time, I just can't, like, you just can't take an axe to movement, because at the same time, like, the maps themselves are part of the issue in regards to that. There's not enough paths through the map, right? There's not enough depth to the maps. All right, NTW, please. Actually, we'll use this one instead. What optic we're using today? Sure. Well, even like the problem is too, right? If they made the AI perceptive also, Scorch doesn't really provide enough areas for you to move to the map in a sneaky way, right? Like, if they actually made the AI notice you, like, running around, it wouldn't be any different from you being sneaky, right? Because it just, yeah. There's not enough, like, pathways to the map currently. Hey, Brendan. Or, like, ways to move about the map. So it just kind of, yeah. It's not a simple issue, right? It's a very complex issue. John, it's not. Most SMGs can support a suppressor. Oh, actually, we're gonna kill a helicopter today? I think we are. Which is gonna change our LUT a little bit, I think. Now, as you can probably assume, this makes what we're doing a lot more dangerous. Wait, hold on. Hold on, wrong ammo. Let's bring some grenades too, just in case. And 50 cal. That's fine. We'll bring a lot more meds. Alright, we're good here. So, iced. You might need to go through... You have disabled guns. You might be... I don't generally interact with that mechanic. Now, they added in a new feature to repair destroyed guns. Generally speaking, if you bring disabled guns back to your innards... Let's go over to here. And move them into here. They should be fine. If they're not, you probably just need to sell them. Yeah, they're just bugged right now. It's part of the new system. I would just sell them. Destroyed guns work. We need to repair those. Brandon, I haven't tried yet. We're not mech hunting, we're chopper hunting. I mean, you can still do destroy guns though, right? So, or you can now do destroy guns. Because we're playing old man. We're mainly gonna go for a chopper, I believe. We're gonna shoot it down, I think. It's gonna be the main plan. Yeah, why not? Now, I'm not sure if the chopper spawns far enough. I think it only spawns when we get close to the bunker. But Brandon, we'll probably be doing that Friday. Friday's community stream day, so we'll be probably shooting for... Here we go. So is it still having issues right now, or is it clean now? So as you can see, shaders are loading in right now. So like, with broadcast, I'd be freaking out. Is my voice still good? Yep, there we go. Yeah, so it's broadcast.
Maybe eating a bullet.
I don't know, Lava. It depends on what I'm doing, right? I have not been focusing on water for a while now and not doing a lot of quests, so you can, like, I've been slowly draining every single stream. It's literally something, Lava, that I have not been caring about at all for the very long time. Ever since they changed water, I have literally just not cared about water at all. Okay, so the chopper's not spawned yet. We'll have to go over there and trigger the spawn, I think. Or rather, we will. It's not even that, though, too. It's just inconsequential, right? Like, the only reason why I think you would want to farm water is for, like, character experience or credits. And both of those are just not important to me at all. Well, that's the power of pneumatic jump, right? Wait, actually, I haven't tried yet. Hold on. If this kills me, I'm not sorry. Sir, you're not aggroed. They don't knock me off. I need a mount, or I need a, what's it called, reins. I need some reins. Give me some, like, reins. Better go ride me my walker. Get my saddle, get my reins. Get my whip for the robot. Sir, hold still, please. I'm trying to snipe here. Alright, I'm sick of this. I'm done. Alright, so I think the plan is to trigger the chopper and then run back to my sniping tower. I really do not want to fight the chopper at the bunker. There's not really any good hiding spots at the bunker at all. And I can't play hide at all. I don't think it will despawn when it spawns, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah, it should spawn here. I'm pretty sure there's like 100%. Is it 100% chance for this quest? Yeah, there it is. mean, probably momentum. I'll probably want to do it when I'm at a good spot for it. Nope, it spawns. All right, Chopper. I guess we'll have to fight on your terms.
Way too hot here. Keep low.
This might make this pretty hard then, because it can absolutely fuck us up here. This is not high enough. Oh, thanks, Mr. Tank. The hell? All right, is the corpse still there, or did it despawn? Apparently it's still there. It's no longer turning into a drone. Can I loot you, though, is the question. Do you not have a loot container? So, by the way, what happened beforehand, right, is these choppers would land, is this it? And convert into a loot container that you could loot, and it usually look like a drone, right? I'm guessing they're not turning into a loot container now. Try higher? I don't see anything higher. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. No, you're right. No nav comp, though. So it's like inside the belly of the beast. They probably need to figure out how to make that like an entire thing. Is there like a container inside of here? Yeah, we'll worry about it later. Let's not think about it too much. All right, I need a water map. Get away from me. Or rather, no. Did that thing just do that on purpose? Was that on purpose? That felt malicious. That thing backed up, turned, and then just ran me over. That felt on purpose. The hell? They fucking training the tank drivers to run people over now? What the hell? All right. So yeah, we can kill the chopper now. It spawns, it actually stays with its current model, not a drone. Looks still kind of derpy, but maybe they can figure it out eventually. I'm kind of curious. What are your guys' thoughts? Now, naturally, right? I imagine it might get old pretty quickly, and I would probably say this too. But for a unit like the chopper, would it honestly be better if it just played a scripted death mechanic and then landed in a certain way? So it could actually like... Where I'm going with this is, right? If the chopper has to ragdoll and hit the ground, right, you can't really program in a way for it to look cool and like look like it lands somewhere and actually have a model like where it lands. If you do it in a more scripted way, you can actually have the helicopter like land somewhere and then turn into like an actual prop on the map, right? So I in a way, I'm kind of curious if that would be a better approach as opposed to... It's not even the better, like, it's not even easier to loot too, but you can actually have like mechanics around too where it does stuff when it lands, right? So like you can have a condition right where the pilot's dead. You can have a condition too where like it spawns cyborgs. And like my my reservation is that it would get old quickly, perhaps, but on the other hand, I think the rule of cool almost gives it a pass. I mean, Sleepy Pig, in a way though, right? If it had collision there, would it look any better though? Sleepy Pig, like if we just added that model to have collision, right? It would still look kind of derpy, right? So like the place I'm going to, like it would be cool for dynamic purposes, and like the downside is like it would be repetitive, right? When the helicopter died, it would do some scripted event and you would have an idea of what happens to it after it dies. Like it might go land in area A and then turn into, like, you know, an A, B, or C corpse, right? But like I feel like rule of cool and like dynamic event wise, it would be interesting, right? And it would be, I think, almost like the simplest way of doing it in regards to like development, as opposed to like an actual system that handled it a lot better. Or sorry, not better, but like less repetitively. It seems like a fair compromise, essentially, is what I'm saying. Essentially what it would do, Sleepy Pig, yeah, like it wouldn't be as like, if you destroyed a chopper on a map, it would go to like one location and die. It more in the sense that like it might have designated locations, or it might just like have its own little level it loads in when it dies and it crashes somewhere. In a way, basically, it's like it probably needs a death animation, is what I'm saying, right? I don't know. It's a complex system, but like I definitely think if you're gonna have things like choppers, it feels like it's fairly important to have good animations for them. I don't know. It's very derpy right now how choppers die, is what I'm basically getting at. Yeah, well, Sleepy, it's more in the sense of like, it's less about the dynamicness of like when you destroy it. It's more of like being able to set it up so like you can actually have it become a thing when it dies, and having that be simple enough, and like simple enough for a small team to handle in a reasonable time frame, right? Like whenever I'm saying something or recommending something or have an idea for something, I'm always trying to keep in mind like essentially the small dev team and the scope of the project, right? I have, Brandon, on community stream days. Like, if you go back in my VOD history, right, you'll see community stream days. Those will always be basically be railgun focused. Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, so you can reuse a lot of it. You might have to recolor some things here and there, but like they already do that right now with, like, they actually have in place helicopter crashes on multiple maps, right? They have the ones on Elephant, they have the ones on Mesa. They already have what I'm basically describing on most maps, but it's only static, right? It only ever spawns in the very beginning of the map. It doesn't actually happen mid-map. So like it already kind of exists in a way. Essentially, what I'm describing is connecting those two things together, right? Like having the helicopter have some animation when it dies to basically land, create a big explosion, and then turns into that kind of like that little small mini level, right? All right, I think we're good here, right? What are we doing quest-wise? Scorched Enclave? I think mainly for like, they do a lot of despawning, but I think it's mainly because I think they knew it probably looked not too great. Especially considering like units like that will respawn pretty consistently too. The last thing you probably want to have happen is have a bunch of like really like off-putting helicopter corpses around the map. All right, Pyro, where are you at? Maybe. Like, heaven knows what they're working on right now. But like, that's kind of why I like Sleepy when I'm like recommending this idea. It's because it's like, I think it's like something that would be possibly worth merit. But like also, I like mentally to me, it seems like the less like the smallest ask for development time, right? Like having something play an animation when it dies is not a big ask. Having that now sink into like a mini level on a map is a different thing entirely too, right? And then having those mesh well together is a different thing entirely too. But like, it's not this giant problem. I feel like that would be very hard to solve. Shaders. So we have Enclave Strike, we're looking for Assaulters. Not you guys. I kind of feel like the SVD should be a one-shot kill. The cyborg heads. It feels wild that it's not. Oh god, grit it. Stop it. Hold on, hold on. I don't feel safe anymore. Let me in. I mean, but Sleepy though, right? If 50 cal takes out their head though, right? Yeah, exactly, Void Away. So essentially what I'm describing with this system, right, is just literally when a helicopter dies, as opposed to instantly just like turning into its destroyed model and then like falling to the ground, it instead just triggers like, say, like one of 2 or 3 animations, right? And then it lands somewhere, and from like where it's placed, it essentially spawns a mini level, right? And naturally, you might need to have like certain areas where it can actually land, or just set areas where it can land. Like, so for each map, can have like maybe like 2 or 3 areas where a helicopter can crash land. And perhaps too, like what you can do also is like you can literally change it. Oh, fucking scared the shit out of me. Where like maybe one of the death animations too is it literally blowing up in the air and then turning into 1,000 different little shards. So not even spawning a spawner. Like, you can even have an animation too, for example, where it doesn't even hit the ground as a debris, right? It just literally blows the hell up. And honestly, that might be even the better solution, right? As opposed to having the model, like, even have its death animation be it literally exploding and having it drop a few pieces of debris around, right? So the animation is it basically exploding in midair. Into 1,000 little pieces, and it drops a box. Like, just, and you hear a Wilhelm scream too. It plays like the Star Wars, you know, Death Star destruction, and then it just plays the Wilhelm scream too. And it's like, it's a Wilhelm scream that's not even like localized by a source location on the map. It's an omnipresent, same volume Wilhelm scream across the entire map. Well, Void Wave, that's starting to get into progression and stuff like that, right? Or getting into like more. I could go on endlessly about like the more meta systems they can include, but I don't think those are happening within the time span of like 3 or 4 months. I could have swore I definitely heard it somewhere. I do recall that they had the Wilhelm scream somewhere in Stalker 2. So I remember commenting that when I actually heard it. Hey, that's the fucking Wilhelm scream. I can't remember the exact location, but I do recall the Wilhelm scream being in Stalker 2. Oh yeah, it's in the tornado, that's right, yeah. I mean, at that point, that's just an Easter egg, right? Who doesn't love a little Wilhelm scream? That's perfectly fair. I mean, Bob, I'm pretty critical with the game, right? So, like, I can understand why I have no... Just because I create content for a game that they make does not mean they have to like me. And I would not be surprised if that's how a lot of developers feel about some streamers. Like a necessary sort of evil for the promotion of your game. I would not blame them, right? Now, personally, well, here's the thing, right? The way I usually phrase it is this. If you just do not vibe with me, that's fair. There's plenty of people I do not vibe with, and it's not something I can place, it's just their general demeanor, right? And like, I try and make sure I just remove myself from interacting with them, because it's not something valid, right? It's not like it's not some character flaw on their behalf, it's just because I don't vibe with them. And that's perfectly the same too, right? Like, if, you know, they don't vibe with me, that's perfectly fair. I can't blame them for that. Now, if there was an issue, I would hope they would raise it to me, right? Like, if they don't think, you know, X, Y, or Z is fair, I would love to have that discussion. But if they don't vibe with, like, if they don't vibe, I think it's perfectly fine to be forthcoming about that, right? I mean, I would be surprised if anyone would say that or go that far, right? I don't think anyone's ever gonna go that far. I mean, yeah, I mean, vibe just replaces the words with mesh, or as like, yeah, vibe is just a new term for an old thing, right? Oh yeah, opals. I forgot about the opals. Hey, opals. Don't look at them.
Look for gaps. Maybe we can slip past.
I'm gonna leave.
Don't get boxed in.
This is my mistake. Blood, it looks so genuinely interesting. I still just can't figure out if it's a rug pull or not. Like, I'm waiting for, like, it feels like the longest con in the history of mankind. It looks, if it ever comes out, I will be a day one buyer because it looks sick as fuck. But I am so expecting to get rug pulled so hard. Like, I am ready for it. If it comes out and plays anything like the trailers look, I will be so surprised. Yeah, I saw that too, right? They actually showed a gameplay trailer. I'm like, I don't think I can believe this. Everything about marketing tells me this is fake as shit. It looks too good to be true. It looks too interesting to be a game nowadays. It looks too interesting, it looks too polished to be a game nowadays. It is a game, go look it up. It's like a very immersive sort of just like action adventure survival game. It's like survival horror basically, it looks like. But like it looks insanely immersive, like there's basically no HUD at all.
Got our number.
I really need to leave. I have not played Scorn. I've watched Scorn get played, and I'm just like, I'm not sure it'll keep my interest for very long. The art looks really cool. It genuinely felt like Scorn should have just literally been a walking simulator and not had combat. Hey, Nasco. Oh, sorry, Nasco, I see, sorry, Twitch chat. Oh, this is the wrong spawn. God damn it, we spawned the wrong spawn. Opals are they're railgunnable.
No, we're here.
They're a railgun target. Getting pretty low on meds. Yeah, extracts over here today, unfortunately. This is like one of the worst extracts to actually have to use. I'm using SVD, John. SVD and then Spaz 12. Yeah, I got the time one, unfortunately.
Think you're done. Every shot counts.
Time to go hide. I am safe. I am rock. No, it fell. Is it still Mr. President when he's behind the guy he's trying to save? Alright, time to leave. Hostile. It's our boy Orgamek. Look at him come over here so ominously. Come on. You can do it. He's just walking toward us menacingly.
Look for gaps. Maybe we can slip past.
Just... It reminds me of the snail so very much. I'm just gonna walk over here. Bye.
Worst case scenario. Right there.
The good old, just like the snail that will always follow you. Forever snail. Womp womp. I didn't even see Pyro at all. We got one though. I mean, why do you care who kills the commander as long as the commander dies? Why does that have to be us? Alright, we haven't done Stairway yet, and Scrapyard. So I guess we'll start with Stairway. Maybe we'll get a night shift. Wouldn't that be swell? Wouldn't that just be dandy? I'm not gonna... we're not gonna go... We'll end the stream with blowing up everything. We'll start turning off maps, essentially. Is there a destructible event on Stairway yet? I don't think so, right? I haven't actually looked at all, to be honest. Let's go unsilenced RPK. Why not? Make some big noise. Let's buy some meds. That should be fine. Night time. I even didn't take a silencer. Yeah, we go. Shay does.
More chances to assist the meager. Let's not waste it.
You just blow up the entire stairway. I mean, there are beams under here, right? So it looks like it. Let's go down to the base and blow up the whole stairway. You blow up the map, you can't play it for the rest of the day. They have to rebuild it.
Additional units approaching.
You don't stop seeing me. Try to be sneaky here. Ow. Just more dust and stuff. It's like just a dead roadway full of ash. It just leads to like the ash lane, I guess.
Hold fast.
Do you think they're okay? I kind of feel like, now naturally, this is getting into a lot of nuance, right? I kind of feel like Euruscan infantry, or just infantry in general, that don't have AT weapons, should probably avoid fighting mechs. Naturally, that's getting into a lot of nuance with your AI. That's probably not feasible considering how much they have, but like, it just felt like those Euruscans just chose death. They chose death by medium mech. I feel like Little Papa, most people would, you know, abstain from trying to shoot an insta-death machine in exchange. Like, what's the point of food if you're immediately gonna die? I believe they're called Nuggies, KFC. Nuggies. So you're saying there's a chance?
A couple dozen more in the ground. It won't make a difference.
I mean, well, okay, going on that lava too, Europans will fight Toothy, and there's actually no chance there. Yeah, unfortunately I did not bring a flashlight, so it is very dark. Hello, Mr. Walker.
Too many footsteps. We need to reduce the numbers.
Whoa! So very rude.
We have to endure.
Are you 2 or are you 3? You are 2. Nice. Time to go back downstairs. Yeah, this medium mech is going crazy.
There are too many signals nearby. We should not open fire.
No! I stuck that. We're good. A large mech is a mech that's bigger than the medium mech. You're welcome. So like, a mech that's bigger than that mech over there. I am genuinely curious how they're ever gonna put large mechs in game. You're welcome, Jake. But keep in mind, the large mechs are still smaller than the very large mechs. There's a hierarchy here. Gradual, no, it's still in early access. It's still in development. Still cooking. No, they have lots of issues with that. Like, once again, it's multi-faceted, right? Because like you can blame it on like the units. You can also blame it on the map design though too, right? Like having mechs on here, right, in this area with all this stuff around, you don't really give them a lot of areas to move around with all the stuff in the way. Bob. Yeah, very small mech energy.
Multiple contacts. Incoming. Taking fire.
All right, good there. I mean, like, well, I guess it depends on the definition of mech, right? Sort of, kind of, like, they're small mechs, small exosuits. I'm sure they definitely look like they have a pilot. Small mech or exosuit. It could also be like they have a pilot, but they're like actually like built into the mech itself also, so. Their general chunkiness and like humanoid shape kind of does give the feeling of like an exo though.
A couple dozen more in the ground. It won't make a difference.
Man, this area's got some really chunky FPS. See, why are they down there? I feel like there's like a room under here that they get stuck in. This is not the first time this has happened. I feel like there's like some ancillary room there that they get stuck in. Or rather, they get spawned by accident. They're trapped, those poor souls.
Do not allow yourself to be surrounded.
Game shift, yes. It refers to yes of those. It's just used for proportionality. The medium mech is smaller than the very large mech, which is bigger than which is bigger than the small mech. Yeah, I don't know. It's just for proportionality. The medium mech insinuates the existence of a bigger mech and a smaller mech. I kind of feel like too they probably have like their like armies almost laid out probably, right, and modeled. It definitely feels like they have like everything in mind for like the actual like composition of armies or factions rather.
Additional. Fast.
All right, time to leave. You were fun, stairway, but not really. God, I love this scene though. Like this, if I could just forget about this looks so freaking cool. The scale of this is so fantastic. This whole area just makes you feel so small, and it's great. Yeah, KFC for sure. Same here. Anytime I think about actually being organized with my cables, I'm just like, oh, I'll do it later. Don't need to do that right now. All right. That was stairway. We have one map we haven't done left. And we haven't done Gunhead yet either. Perfect. With that in mind, what's the gun we don't usually use? LMG. We haven't used you in a while. Sure, why not? I'm gonna regret this. The MG34 is not very good. Which probably makes very many wearaboos very sad. Alright, I think we're good. Scrapyard. I mean, I would think that a human character is conscious, yes. In regards to the lore, yes. Now, Gunhead's definitely a weird area, right? The lore of Gunhead definitely kind of insinuates that he's just a bunch of just programming. I don't think Gunhead's self-aware. I think they kind of point out that Gunhead's kind of almost just like a menagerie of lots of like tranches and layers of code. Oh god, hold on, hold on, hold on. Thank God for my Gunhead's Gunhead. The MG34 is not very good. Wee. No, hold on, I will say, hold on here, let's do. That's pretty funny. I would say, like, if I'm gonna be very nitpicky, I do think his reloads look a bit too organic. But like, again, it's very nitpicky, right? All right. Yeah, if like look at his sprint though. I don't know. Where's everyone? Well, yeah, I wanted to be like more jerky, right? And once again, I did preface it with being I am being very nitpicky. You know what? We can just come investigate that random shotgun shell shot. Oh god, a grenade launcher! That hurt. Alright, we're good. We probably lost a lot of HP there, but it is what it is. Probably, yeah. I mean, essentially anything that keeps you from being spacefaring is essentially a Fermi paradox, right? So, this definitely feels like it, considering they do mention the Kessler effect. For those unfamiliar, the Fermi paradox basically says, like, if life was common, intelligent life was common, why don't we see a lot more instances of, like, spacefaring nations or, like, spacefaring aliens, considering the history of the universe? So, like, it kind of suggests that there is some barrier that keeps most creatures from, like, obtaining intelligence to becoming spacefaring creatures. So, like, essentially, considering the age and history of the universe, like, it kind of suggests that there is some, like, kind of barrier that stops sentient, intelligent creatures from reaching that level. All right, it's time for us to leave. We can kind of see that we're swaying here, which means we're very low HP. Exactly. Considering the age of the universe and considering how much we've progressed in the span of a couple thousand years, which is like nothing in the span of a universe, it suggests that, you know, if there was intelligent life, if high-level intelligent life was possible, right, which seems like life is possible in a lot of spots, it would suggest that there is some barrier, something that's stopping that like jump from going from like our civilization up to like spacefaring high-tech civilization, right? And essentially, like, there's a great filter, right? Yeah, the great filter. What is filtering out civilizations from reaching that next step? And this is like, for example, one of the possible kind of ideas, right? You know, our inner turmoil or war. Yeah, we could be past the filter too, and we're just like, the problem is, Lava, is like, it's hard to believe that in the, you know, considering how old the universe is, we're really the first ones to do it. Alright, let's see how low we were. Just a scratch.
Objective secured. Minimal casualties.
Minimal? Alright, well, your words. Yeah, it could also mean suggest things like, too, like, for example, maybe, like, there is a, like, high-level spacefaring entity out there that keeps everyone else, like, if there is, like, say, for example, some giant spacefaring faction out there, they might just view us as kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things. I mean, nothing really game shift. I mean, there's no way of proving if we're the first or not, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of irrelevant. I do genuinely think if you start thinking on a grand scale of things, like, think of the motivations for us to go be spacefaring, right? Thanks, Tank. Sounds like it, the Tank. Sounds like it. The Fermi paradox was brought up, so now we're in the Fermi paradox kind of idea. Well, exactly, too. Well, yeah, exactly. We're not worth the time of day. The point I'm more getting at, right, is that, like, to progress aggressively, like, remember, like, for example, right, it took a literal, like, Cold War with the threat of nuclear annihilation to motivate both sides to really focus on going into space, right? And, like, right now, space is, you know, it's still, there's still investments in space, right? But it's so much, very much on the back burner. It's just, in the grand scheme of things, considering the current day, it's hard to think we would ever make massive investments into space, right? And, like, that could be that could be, for example, like a part of the Fermi paradox. It's not practical to go to space. As cool as it is, it's not very, it's for the average day, for the average human, right? Space does not affect them in any way, shape, or form directly. you can point out, like, for example, all of the indirect benefits they get from, you know, investments into space technology, but it's definitely not something that's like easy to, you know, promote, right? Yeah, I mean, the problem is Maker 2, it's just like the logistics of space mining, right? And bringing it back down the gravity well, like space mining in a way requires space industry, right? If you're bringing in an asteroid, well, it'd be probably end of June, so probably like the end of this month. But big is relative, right? Mesa. Until like there's actual space industry, there's really not much merit in capturing an asteroid or going to get an asteroid and bringing it back down to the gravity well to send it back up again. And the problem is, like, what would we need? Like, what would we need space industry for?
I hate the surface.
Like space construction for. And there's also the problem too of like humans just can't live that long in space. Like there would be the amount of massive hurdles that you would need to like overcome. It just, there's a lot of friction and there's not a lot of need. Like the when you ask an average day person who's not like a sci-fi nerd, like, aren't you afraid in like 1,000, 10,000, 20, a million years from now humanity dies out? It's like, I'm not really concerned about that. Like, space to them doesn't really mean all that much because it doesn't direct them and, you know, it doesn't affect them directly, right? And going back to like, if there was other spacefaring nations also, in a way, them remaining in the shadows is honestly better. If they're aware of like the own issues with like navigating to space travel, right? Why would they ever give humans work best when they get an enemy, right? It's our base tribalism, right? It's always why like it turns into us versus them, left versus right, or, you know, our team versus their team. It's because it's the base tribalistic instinct of humans, right? So if you never give humanity on a whole level a tribe to fight against, that's not them, they're never going to cooperate at that level. Like, if it's never human versus aliens, right, it's always going to be some sub-faction of humans versus each other. So like on the grand scheme of things, aliens keeping to themselves if they existed is actually probably their better idea. Just do not get involved with humans because they'll just kill each other off anyway. Don't give them someone else to fight against or to unite against. Moo. Genshu, not currently. It seems like that's probably the intent eventually. It seems like they're still doing pretty thorough work on companions. So I definitely think that's going to be their solution for solo players, is to do the railgun with companions. Now that's not, they have not said that themselves, right? So this is me saying this just by my own volition. It seems that way. And if they don't give you the ability to get the railgun, I do imagine they're going to give you something, right? I mean, South Park is getting up there with Simpsons, right? Where like both Simpsons and South Park have covered everything collectively. They both cover so fucking much. When you have shows going on for like 10, 20 years, that's always going to be the case, right? Okay, you are not one. Stop it with your damn hands. Disgusting. You freak. The cows do not moo. The cows do not react to getting shot. The cows are apparently our deities. All right, Rat King enthusiasts. If Rat King was so great, why does he die? Cow doesn't die. You should worship cow instead. Ever heard of the heavens? The skies above, where gods reside? Rat King's on the floor with us. The cows are above.
Make every shot count.
I haven't seen Rat King in so long. Well, I see cows every day. Can you eat your god blood? I don't think so. You can't eat Rat King. I can eat a cow. Cow gives life. You can eat cow. God, they're so tanky now. Here, let me run by. Void, just like all gods, they randomly appear out of nowhere. Just like all gods. The God Eater. You eat a cow in the game, you're suddenly a God Eater. Alright, please be one. I didn't actually check the one over there, but please be one. God damn it. I've made mistakes. Guess we're not doing you. That would be cool. I know they talked about forever ago, right? How apparently they did have some like deformation system or like essentially like a system like that, but it was just too performance intensive. I think we're gonna come back and blow up the bridge after this. You know, let's go ahead and do the. Let's just go ahead and do it. Deification? No. What did I say? Deification? No. What's it called? Defacing. Defacing. What's it called? Like it's sorry. Deformation. Deformation. There we go. Deformation system. So deforming a unit, like so for example, like say for example you shoot a unit, you deform their body or like break apart part of the body and see the skin underneath. You see layers like an onion, like Shrek. So deformation. Things deforming. Yeah, so like Helldivers. Yeah, like battle damage, right? Like say for example you shoot something with 20mm, it'll have a hole in it. I mean, lurking. The one thing you can modify in this game pretty easily is like models. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could probably replace an Orgamech with Shrek. Or better yet, replace the shield officer with Shrek. and you can just replace the sound files too. Get out of my swamp. The Orca Shrek. Oh god, yes. This is starting to sound like canon now. Yeah, we haven't done any of his things yet. We'll be starting. We're gonna start doing them soon, or now rather.
Keep your finger off the trigger. Hostiles nearby.
By the way, if you guys, it's a very specific game. But like, you know those games like QWERTY and like the games that you would have like, not QWERTY, wait, but the games where you have to like control the movement of your legs with like key presses. There's a game called Baby Steps I played yesterday, right? As a demo. Very fun game. Very comical game. It's very rare that a game will get me to like actually laugh out loud quite a lot, but like I was laughing quite a bit at Baby Steps. But it's essentially one of those games, right, where like it's a walking simulator where walking is hard. You have to control your walking around essentially. Orca Shrek does sound pretty fucking good though.
I think they spotted us. That's it for us.
Maybe I take the easy way around. And by easy, I mean not in combat focused. Yeah, it's called Baby Steps on Steam as a demo for it right now. I found it pretty comical and fun, but like if you're not into that type of game, it is exhausting. Like it is like it's literally you struggling to walk. All right, time to find our way through. Yeah, it's QWOP. QWOP is a good, yeah. That's what I was thinking about. That wasn't QWERTY, QWOP. If you ever played QWOP, the Flash game, it's like that basically, right? It's way easier than QWOP. You can actually move in this game. I never got good at QWOP. The hell? But no, it's great. Up we go. As you can probably tell, this is not usually where you're supposed to go, but we're making it work. There we go. Yeah, it's been a fucking hot second since I think, like, what was like an old Flash game, right? It is streamer bait, but it is like, okay, here's the thing. A game like Getting Over It and like that, it is like a streamer bait game like that, but I will say like the comedy actually was pretty funny to me. Like I found the actual like NPCs and the humor in the game quite funny. So it wasn't just a game about the difficulty and like of walking around and just like lol streamer can't walk, but it was actually like an entertaining game from the NPCs in it. All right, we need to get one still over here. Sorry, 3, I guess. Yeah, well made streamer bait. I mean, I wouldn't. There are plenty of people too who do enjoy those types of games also, but it is like a comical game where like you can just like laugh at a streamer being bad or good or whatever. I think it doesn't deserve a dismissive title such as that. I think. And like I don't really like Getting Over It. I don't really like the what's it called, like the asset flip climbing games. But this one was like much more of just like kind of a vibe I enjoyed. All right, last one. There you are in the distance. Other than that, though, like the shows this weekend, I'm trying to think of like what else like kind of like was interesting on the shows this weekend to me. I think it was like Ill. That one was kind of interesting. There wasn't a whole lot though, I will say. I'm trying to think of anything else I was like actually interested in this weekend on the whole all the game streams. Oh, there was that one. What was it called? Like the BioShock one, like the steampunk BioShock. It looked interesting. What's it called again? Clockwork something, I think was it what it's called. It's like a steampunky sort of like BioShock sort of game. Looked really cool. Opals? It was Clockwork something. It looked really good. Yeah, Clockwork Revolution. There we go. Hey, Opals. How's it going? Actually, are these? Wait, hold on here. Don't murder me. I mean, it looks like a pilot pod. I could definitely see the case though, like where too, like they're built into the pod. Like they're like still sentient creatures, but like they're kind of fused with machinery. They're making sounds like a creature's in there too.
Too busy eating something else.
That was pretty gnarly. That poor fucking soldier got murdered. It's so I am kind of curious, right? Like, I am so genuinely curious why you have, like, it's the whole unkillable things, right? Like, it definitely feels like those opals should die to medium mechs, right? It feels weird how, like, they just get ignored, or not, they're unkillable to medium mechs, right? I feel like it wouldn't be that crazy to just have different stratifications of, like, ammo types or ammo damage, like, damage modifiers to make them killable. Like, you can make them unkillable by weapons we can use, but still make them killable by, like, props around the map, right? Or, like, you know, medium mechs with a railgun. Candy. Fastman, calm down. Fastman, calm down. Brother, he's dead. Sorry. Fred? The hell? Brother. Ow, ow. Oh. Yeah, that's all coming. I was captivated by the scrambler running off into the into the void. I got so distracted by that one scrambler. Just ending his life. He was done. Just ran right off. I feel like you can just go farther, right? Like if you have it depends on how they're doing it, right? But I could definitely see situations, right, where like you can just literally have it where a unit will only take damage from certain calibers. All right. I think it's time to start blowing up bridges. 79% for Europa, my god. Character. I mean, Helldivers is a bit more nuanced, right? Because they have like actual hitboxes on units that have like different requirements for ammunition, right? I'm not even saying going that far, right? But just make it for like the entire model, right? In a way, it's like Helldivers, right? But it is just like literally just a very like, I would think pretty simple solution. That's like a compromise. I mean, here's the thing though. Pistols are just invalidated. Like that's just, yeah, that's just pistols. All right, time for some explosives. Do I not have explosives? Huh. That's unfortunate. I will need to go find some. I'm sure we can find some on this map too, though. Yeah, because like the key factor, right, is time and just like simplicity. It depends on the pistol age. There's a few. It's usually like, for example, like a kitted out Glock, but like a C96 might only have a flashlight. I mean, it works, right? But like, it just depends on the actual, the pistol you're using. Well, KFC, I think you're equating, I think you might be thinking way too more, like you're thinking like Tarkov, right? Where you're thinking of like caliber plus length of barrel. This game should be arcadey, right? Like they don't have the time or resources for milsim. We're not gonna get into like barrel length, right? Barrel length affecting the damage of a pistol or, you know, a gun, right? That's getting into a lot of this like complexity and time consuming factors, right? When you have 42 guns in the game. All right, I need explosives. We're blowing up a bridge, or attempting to rather. I mean, yes and no, Maker. They've changed it. Back in the original game, they had different barrel parts. That it wasn't necessarily just. It wasn't that the barrel length increased it or decreased it. It was more just like this arbitrary part increased or decreased it, right? It wasn't them giving you a barrel saying 22-inch barrel gives you higher muzzle velocity, which increases damage because it's multiplied by the like damage number. It was just, yeah. Like, it wasn't a ballistic system, right? And I don't think it should be, right? It should just be arcadey. Your entire game is stylized. Just lead into stylized guns. All right, we need explosives. No. I win. Anyway. I need explosives. I should probably brought attack cam. I mean, you can, right? I mean, that's basically like literally Battlefield, right? Battlefield has trajectories and bullet drop, but still just has arcadey gameplay. Oh, there's two. There might be explosives there. There'll actually definitely be explosives on the other side. That'll work. The feel's important, right? But yeah, it's once again, there's a lot of complexity to it, right? Nuance-wise, like it's very easy to say the guns don't feel right. It's very hard to pinpoint the exact reasons why they don't feel right, and it's usually not just one issue, right? It's a combination of different things. It kind of makes you appreciate all the small things that go into making a system feel good in a game. Look at the little derpy eyes. Anyway. Get away from me. Is it trying to turn into me? Get away from me. Not wrecking. Yeah, it's not Rat King doesn't exist. That's not Rat. That's just a medium mech. That's not Rat King. Rat King's just a myth. Go, EOD, go. Oh, he lost. Good old painless. I want to say it's right here, right? Is it? Oh, it's right. It's right here. It's a very weird spot. It's right here. Here we go. I think it's not this one. I think it's the next one. Yeah. The glory of no HUD.
This should buy me some new upgrades.
Alright, there's two. There should be plenty of explosives up here. I don't think so, actually. Just a modifier.
Break them down.
Snipers? Fucking snipers, man. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Ow, god damn it. Looking drones. Alright, here's my explosives. Stop spawning. I do think the cinematics, I think they are just like, I think they're early beta. I think they just basically threw something together to like show it as a placeholder. I do think they probably require a lot more work. But yeah, I think they're just all placeholder for right now. They're all like, you know, essentially like the MVPs, right? Minimal viable product. The absolute min to show what they're trying to show or do. Because I do agree, they're too quick. They're not cinematic enough. They can be so much more, so much more. All right, I believe one is here. Let me actually do the ones from here first and then down this way. It's not you. Maybe this one then.
This should buy me some new upgrades.
All right, I believe the last one's over here at the very end. I want to say it's right here. Yep, that's all four. Time to watch an explosion. KFC, we already know we can't do that with this character. He's too slow. You can do it with any other character other than this one. He is the only one that's just too slow to get across the bridge in time. From the opposite side.
We're on the clock, people. Kill them quick.
Goodbye, bridge.
Don't let them break our position.
Well, I just killed you. Oh god, it's Captain Chin. Captain Chin, no. Alright. Are they gone at least? The officers? The snipers? Alright, we're leaving. Hopscotch. 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 He does. He like, it depends on if he can path to you, right? He has lots of pathing issues right now, so like if you're in an area where he can't get to you, he'll just like essentially just kind of chill. It takes you a long while standing at a spot where he can get to you to actually come attack you. So as you can see here, we have now blown up the bridge. Let's go over to Mech Trench and do the same thing. Where's my rig stuff at? There you are. His jumping has the same problem with the bridge animations, right? They're just too quick. Like, if they slowed it down, it looked perfectly fine. I think the problem is it just, like, it instantly just plays and he just disappears. Actually, let's go SMG. Let's go 9mm. It is. I don't think you get the discounts for restoring, if I recall correctly. But can I be bothered doing that? The answer is no. Yeah, I don't think you get discounts for like loyalty or high rep when you restore. It's just base cost, and I'm okay with that. All right, we got ammo, we got meds. I need explosives while they get that in raid, which should not be hard. What are you doing in my mesa? Yeah, I could definitely see Shield Officer being Shrek also. Alright, so we need an explosive for the radar tower right here. I kind of just can't shake this feeling that, like, this is such a terribly, like, should I even sabotage this? It feels like they're sabotaging themselves. Like, they have a radar tower that's just, ooh, that's cool. That's just like in a ravine.
Not enough ammo.
It's a lot of extra clips, Jen, for sure, to like go in and buy the parts you want to get, right? Yeah, just so much easier. I think they've mentioned movement, so I think they're aware of it. A lot of it's just the maps though too, right? Like, a part of it's definitely on movement itself, but a lot of it's just on the maps also, just having lots of terrain that you'll clip into. I mean, they kind of are, right? Via railgun. It depends, like, I don't mind the fact that special units are unkillable, but the problem is it's harder to suspend your disbelief when, like, for example, the shield officer has an exposed face. Like, are you telling me his face is made of, like, literal, like, bulletproof metal? I mean, I don't mind acceleration all that much, KFC. Like, I'm not sure if like the acceleration bothers me.
Just what I always wanted. Try hard on it.
Oh, nice. I'll take a gander. I just want to say for everyone in chat, the more meme questions you ask, it gives them more outs to answer meme questions as opposed to real questions. Don't get me wrong, meme questions are fun and all, but like, you know, they're an easy out to answer as opposed to a real question. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, Mr. Media Mech, don't mind me. Rip radio tower. Captain Chin? Captain Chin. Look at that, he's still angry at him. He hates him so much. He hates the media mech so much, he's just staring at him. That's a mood. It's really hard because, like, this is their creative choice, right? And I imagine as an artist, it's very hard to get critiques like this, where I have seen the reception, right, where a lot of people, or at least a decent amount of people, do not like the shield officer's face. Whoa, 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 what the hell? Chill out. And like, that's perfectly fair, right? You know, like, everyone's gonna have their own personal tastes. I don't know, it's hard, it's so hard, right? It can get personal very quickly when you start talking about aesthetics like that. Yeah, it'd be more, yeah. If they're trying to hide just like the factor that he like is invulnerable, a helmet would be very useful, right? Yeah, that's the common rhetoric I've seen around. Hey, stop colliding with me. Can I actually ride your gun? I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm now just genuinely curious. Well, 100%, right? Can you come back? I want to ride your gun, please. Come back over here. Come on. Turn around. I believe. Can I get on this? Oh. All right. Does everyone believe? Let me eat some dirt real quick. I'm good with this. This is our life now. We live here. Get him! Come on, get him, boy! Get him! He's right there! Come on, get him. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Get him. He's right there. Come on. Come on. Come on, get him. Right there. Hey, 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 hey. Can't see it, you the fucking bright lights. Hey, stop that. You're hurting yourself. Fucking my god. All right, we're past the targeting area. We're good. I will get off of you if you just shoot him. He's right in front of you. I believe in you. You can do this. There we go. Yeah. Get him. Get him. Yeah. What the? Oh my god. It's John Forever Winter. No. No, no, no. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. This is probably not intentional. No, no, don't mess me off. Wait, we're good. I don't have more medkits. This is not gonna last forever. Stop, no, we're friends. Fred, you knocked me off. Oh, the gun's gone. I think it shot its own gun off. Rip fun. My god. He just doesn't care. John Forever Winter. Alright, I think it's time to leave. Lurking, we would be there for so long. So very long. And while I'm here, I might as well grab some more stuff. Grab some water, grab a lockbox.
Gotta hold on to this.
Grab some more water. Create your own challenges. I think Webby, the key that I do right is like, I only play when I'm streaming, which is like 3 to 4 hours a day for 3 times a week. So like, I pace myself pretty well. Other than that, I think it's just important to like, it's important to realize when you're burnt out on a game and just move on, right? You shouldn't just be like grinding the gears of a game just to keep playing it. If you want to take a break, just go take a break, man. Yeah, I keep my, like, I keep myself very paced on this game for that exact reason, right? I've been doing so since launch too, basically.
Time to count the scraps.
But yeah, messing around, Webby, just doing different, like, you can, like, you know, wipe your own account. Like, you can go to your save file locally on your machine, take out the save files, and then start a new save, and just mess around a bit, try leveling up again. Give yourself restrictions, like, for example, no silencers, pistols only, or just stuff like that. But really just, like, just don't be afraid of, like, stepping away for a bit, too, right? It can always be fun coming back to a game a year later, and then discovering all of the new shit that came out in a year. Yeah, I mean, that's the glory of a game like this, right? This is a game where, because it's offline PvE, there's no reason to have like a rat race like that. There's like, your progression should be you versus the game and you versus yourself, right? Hey, Jacob. All right, that's 2 maps done. I am curious what, and I kind of feel like on Frozen Swamp, you need a certain percentage to to get the helicopter to spawn. Yeah, KFC, not really. I mean, if you say something like interesting, I might be on board. I'm generally just, I will do masochistic stuff, but like, I usually just won't do it just for its own sake, if that makes sense. If I find something interesting, I'll do it, but if it just seems to be like arbitrarily masochistic, eh. The classic answer of it depends. You're certainly welcome to put them in chat, and I'll like entertain the idea. See ya, tank. A little bit of 50 cal. Uh-oh. That costs a lot of meds that run. Alright, we got everything. We can do... We're mainly just trying to blow up the chopper. Yeah, I think we're good. I don't drink. Oh, you mean like drinking in game? I mean, that could be fun, but like, I don't know. It's the problem I have with it mentally, right? Is that if I want to heal, I literally have to just sit in a corner and just drink constantly in game. Would it be fun watching me for like a minute just drinking in game to heal up? We kind of did that last Friday, actually, working a little bit. Whenever I did like new character accounts, that usually be the first hurdle to get to, is get to silencers. Like, it sounds funny in theory, but like after like the first or second time of watching me sit in a corner drinking to heal up, it probably gets very old very quickly. No healing, no problem is fun. No healing, no problem definitely makes you appreciate how strong healing is in the game. The drunken shooter, oh god. It's an entirely different game, and like the problem is I think right now too, Lurking, I'm hoping they're not getting into the trap where they're balancing around silencer gameplay. I definitely think silencer should not be the norm. I think you balance around, hey Captain, I definitely feel like you balance around unsilenced gameplay and you make silencers rare or not like you give silencers real downsides. I'm good, how are you?
Perfection.
Let's go over here. And boop. I killed like 3 guys. I get HKs already? Well, I didn't deserve this. Other than kill 3 guys. 4 guys. That sucks. Hope you feel better. The flu is always just like a fucking just kick in the face, right? Congratulations, you're now suddenly gonna feel like shit for the next week or 2.
I think they spotted us.
Hello. Bye. All right. I kind of get the feeling that there's not gonna be a chopper up here. Too many Europans up here, it feels like. Not really, Jake. Not really at all. Like, the one thing that you might be able to say is a downside is if you're using a flashlight, the extra effect of gas coming out of your barrel does make it hard to see, but that's really the only downside for silencers. Yeah, no chopper here today, unfortunately. Womp womp. I definitely do think it plays into the percentage of your Ruska controlling the map, which is cool, don't get me wrong. It is nice to have like things like this change depending on the faction control. Yes, the glorified sick days, yes. You actually deserve your sick days though. Unlike most people who just use them as a day off occasionally, which is nice to have, right? Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have a, you know, a mental health day. Leave me alone. Freaking HKs. Alright, over we go. Down we go. Because Dust, we're not allowed to have good things. We're scavs. I mean, that was one of the glories too, okay, is because I work remote. Like, the glories of working remote, right, is like you could get away with a lot working remote that you just not have to use a sick day for.
Eyes on us. Spread out.
Goodbye, bridge, or goodbye, elevator. I mean, I kind of feel like that's like kind of the whole vibe, right? Game Shift in America is like you take your sick days for like you take your sick days to use for appointments / mental health days. Yeah, the only way I've found so far to get Captain Chen is if there is a Ruska chopper there. I think it only affects Europa. I'm not sure how much it affects on the map itself. I would need to like really back into it. But I imagine it probably affects Europa, maybe down below. And then if we can blow up the chopper, if it spawns there, it will cause a shield officer to spawn. Yeah, Captain, it's hard to... There's a certain type of figure that finds themselves in managerial roles. And let's just say, I just genuinely think on a certain level, the people that find themselves in those roles are because they can't do anything worthwhile. And so to justify having a job, they're giving a managerial role. It's kind of like that whole trope, right, where like you're promoted up to the point where like you're no longer competent.
I'm the last one standing.
I also feel like it's this weird thing too. I actually will say also, like, for a lot of people, like, I'm gonna use the term normal here, but normal is so probably the wrong word for this. when you have a person like, say for example, go to college and like get a degree and then become, say for example, an HR rep, right? They almost use the stigmata or like the persona or the stereotype of HR to almost like become the caricature of that role, right? And they kind of perpetuate just by being that stereotype, that the fact that HR is just terrible people that are just only there to help the company. In a way, like, it's almost because people understand, like, bosses are supposed to ride your ass from some weird fucking trope, that they do that too. Even if it's ineffective, right? It's because their only learning has ever been, like, that kind of stereotype, that's all they know to do when they get that role. Even if they aren't conscious of it, right? Essentially, I'm talking about like basically the mask people put on when they go to their jobs, right? You act different when you go do your job. I actually weirdly think that on a grand scale of things, I don't act that much different when I go do my job. I'll censor myself a bit more, but like on a whole level, I'll still be fairly blunt to my own detriment sometimes. But I definitely think people are way more performative when they get to a specified role in a job. They're willing to... What the hell did I just hit? There? Huh. Weird. I don't exactly remember what that term means. If we're gonna get into like Myers-Briggs, I am classified as an int J. But on a whole level of two, I will say, all of the labeling too, I think is a mistake.
Always a pleasure, folks.
Trying to like classify, describe, it's like labeling every like different type of personality, and this I just used NJ too, so I'm also guilty of this. Labeling every type of personality by some label or description, I think, is just simplifying human personalities, right? I don't want to get too deep into the sauce, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep into the sauce. I do think people generally try and simplify complex things way too much. And when they can simplify a personality or a person into a group that are, you know, they can fairly categorize or somewhat categorize, they're gonna do that, right? Because it's simpler for them to label you under the box or the folder of X, Y, or Z as opposed to have you in your own file. 100% Webby, yeah. Like it's how we organize data, right? It's why Windows is so popular. Windows is literally that. But like, to not realize that on a certain level is, to a degree, it's really bad, right? Because it's how you get kind of the more malicious elements of, say, for example, certain movements, right? Trying to classify, for example, like, you know, I'll get a little bit political here, right? Someone using individual within inside of that group to label that whole group as such, right? Let's say for example, if someone in group A is a criminal, right? And they do a crime, right? Bad actors will use that criminal in group A to label that whole group as criminals. And that is rhetoric that takes place everywhere now. And it's super dangerous. They will use individual instances of a group to label that whole group as that element. It is stereotyping, 100%. 100% it is stereotyping. But like it's so malicious now, and you'll even, well, the problem is too, right? KFC is, when you think of stereotyping, you generally think of race, right? You think of like racial stereotyping, but it's much more militarized now, right? In the sense of they'll find, because you have all these different categories now too, and they keep making more, like, and I'm not saying this is not a real term, right? I'm just using it as an example, neurodivergent or INTJ or anything, right? They'll take samples from that and kind of blow you up and make you feel like you're the spokesperson for the whole, right? You'll see this a lot with the gotcha people, like people who go talk to idiots on the street, right? Who might believe in X, Y, or Z, but don't know how to articulate it in a very good example, right? And so they'll video record this person, they'll take this, out of pocket or just kind of not well-spoken take, and they'll blow it up as a example of the whole. And both the left and right will do this, right? They'll both find idiots on each side, put them in front of a camera, record them, and then throw them up on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever, right? Both sides are absolutely guilty of it, don't get me wrong. And they both use it to categorize the whole. And don't get me wrong, it's very useful to organize things in files and folders and under categories, right? But it's kind of getting weaponized at this point. All right, let's not get too distracted here. Unfortunately, though, you can no longer remove... This is an old thumbnail. It doesn't really work like that, though. It works, but yeah, it works because we are coded in such a way where we want to organize that way, right? We want to make something complex simple, right? Because we can't... Our headspace cannot be occupied by all of the complexities of that, right? Does this actually work? Hold on. I mean, I'm gonna try Arc Raiders when it comes out, but like, keep in mind, Arc Raiders, if you are trying to compare Arc Raiders to this game, just do some research, get some perspective, because the team size and the money behind each are vastly different. Now, that does not excuse any issues in this game, right? Does not excuse them at all. Like, this game has issues it needs to fix. But comparing the quality level of polish, the content, just how big it might be to this game is not a fair comparison. You have a new studio founded by artists that's like 20 people, right? And they're pushing out a game in like a couple years. And then you have Arc Raiders, which has been in development for a while. It's got a studio of hundreds of people and lots more money. It's not exactly the fairest of comparisons. Oh, for sure, right? I am hesitant. I am hopeful for Arc Raiders. I am hesitant. You know what I'm gonna actually feel about Arc Raiders? I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to be big. I think there's going to be a lot of players who are going to ask for a PvE mode. Because you know what's going to happen? The game's going to blow up, it's going to be big, and they're going to get cheaters. They're going to get RMTers if RMTer exists in that game. If there's like any way of doing trading. Like, the amount of clout behind Arc Raiders right now is actually really bad for it. Having plenty of streamers, they're not comparable though. I generally don't think they're comparable. I think you have to lean a lot more into like, I think this game will at its most be a stepping stone right into the future, right? For this particular company. I think this game is how they show, I mean, we'll have to see how well they do. I don't want to get too deep into hypotheticals here. Anyway, Let's not do Stairway. But like I am with the amount of clout Arc Raiders is getting, I genuinely think they're going to have a massive cheating problem, like every extraction shooter, and I hope they can solve it, but I'm not hopeful. Or sorry, I genuinely hope they can solve it, but like I doubt they can.
I hate the surface.
Yes, it is a cursed. It's beautiful, isn't it? The cursed G36. Yeah, the problem is, Delta, is it's very easy to push the cheating problem into a point where it's too late. If you develop here's the thing. If I'm like the business person of a company, right? And the developers come to me and say, hey, you know, we should probably get some anti-cheat developers or some anti-cheat redders, like, or cheat people ready. Like, we need to like start actively working on anti-cheat for the game before it comes out. And you know what I'm saying as the business person, the person in charge? I say, well, you know, we only have XYZ money, and cheating is, we don't know how much cheating there's going to be, right? So we'll deal with cheating after the game is out. If we do well and we have lots of cheaters, isn't that a good thing, right? We have lots of players. That means there's lots of cheaters. So then we can deal with anti-cheat. From a business perspective, I feel like it's insanely easy to push away the cheating problem. Especially if you're just like a suit or a business guy and you're not well versed, I think, in gaming in general, or just extraction shooters in general, and how prevalent cheating can be in them. I mean, if you're talking about like BattleEye or like one of those third parties have never been reliable, right? In a way, if you want to focus on a game that has anti-cheat from the ground up, you have to like, you cannot just go back and fix your game to deal with issues you have in your code. It's very hard to do that on a foundational level. If you want your game in this current day and age to be as cheat-proof as you possibly can, one, you don't have the technology, doesn't exist yet, because you probably need AI anti-cheat, to be quite frank about it. Two, you need to design your game from the ground up to be as secure as possible. Like, that was always the issue with Tarkov, right? They never took into consideration all the things they need to do to be secure. And so, naturally, you know, 8, 9, 10 years later, they still can't secure their game. Because the foundation's just literally a grater. There's so many holes in it. But no, like the issue is, right, is that if you have a game like if you have any RMT, like the big thing is too, right, there should be no RMT, there should be no reason to RMT in Arc Raiders, right? If there's ever a chance to RMT, if there's ever a way someone can make money playing Arc Raiders, it's going to exacerbate the cheating problem immensely. God, the hands. Because the second you start making for-profit cheats lucrative, you start getting hardware cheats. And I can tell you right now, you're not detecting hardware cheats. You might get a hunch on if a player is doing it. You might be able to prove it via like how good they are and how like improbable that is, or you might be able to like almost like 99% prove it, but you won't actually have physical proof, right? Because they're offloading all of the cheats to a secondary machine that you can't detect. So until like there is some like invention of AI anti-cheat, if your game has monetization that will allow for RMTers, if it's profitable, it's just never gonna work. I mean, that's if it has rankings, right? If Arc Raider has rankings.
We decide what happens next.
RMT is real money transactions. It's essentially people trading or selling in-game items for real-life currency. It's been a big thing in MMOs forever. Like, you know, buying and selling gold is RMT. But in like Tarkov, right? Like say for example, you're buying a key card, you're buying rubles, you're buying like X, Y, or Z in Tarkov for real money. And that was always because of the flea market, right? They made it easy to do that. And naturally you could always do that too with just like in-game transactions, like you would load into factory and drop someone something. But no. If they allow you to like drop things or trade things to other players, there will be RMT.
Whittle them down and we can break out.
And that like, and once you have RMT in the game, you're going to have cheaters who are there for the business of cheating, not because they want to be better than you, not because they want to, you know, be the top of the leaderboards. They want to be there because they can make money off of it. And it might not, like, you know, when you have a job that pays $20, $30 an hour, it might not sound lucrative to do that. But when you live, say, in Indonesia or you know, the Philippines or like lots of oceanic countries, or say, for example, Eastern Europe, lots of different places, you'll have people who will, you know, go cheat and then sell their items in game and make lots of money relative to their current status. Exactly, right? Yeah. RuneScape, a classic example, right? You know, MMOs, right? Yeah, I mean, like, I can talk about the minimum wage in America being the same as it was for like fucking 15, 20 years, but that's getting into the kind of political factors. I will just say this. It's not left versus right. It's not us versus, you know, each other. It's fuck the rich. I believe in capitalism, but this is a perversion of capitalism, right?
Always a pleasure, folks.
This is essentially the biggest ladder pull in history. I mean, I would say, John, I'm not talking about exactly politics. I am talking about capitalism as a whole. Now, if you consider capitalism to be political, I mean, that is what it is. I can't really help that, but like, yeah, it is what it is. Oh, this is not monetized at all, Doctor. I don't monetize my streams anymore. YouTube's been pushing way too heavily into like showing ads every 3 to 4 minutes. So I just knocked off on monetization on live streams. You know what? Let's get a nighttime stairway real quick. A good old nighttime stairway. I like on a grand scheme of things, right? I do genuinely think capitalism's a necessary evil, because there are plenty of people who will not be motivated to do good or do useful things without an external motivation like that. Like I think on a whole it's a necessary evil, but it needs to be like you're saying, the Scandinavian model. Thanks, Vinny. Appreciate it. Hey, Jack. Thanks for joining. All right. What's going on, Captain? Like I said, it's kind of just like a current, just like we're in the waiting period as time passes, everything's set up. Thanks, Xavier. Appreciate it. And I want to say this too. I will clue you in with like I almost want to say, not you could call it an indoctrination if you want, if societal norms, if whatever you want to call it, but like my current degree is considered a business degree, right? It's tech leaning. It's actually more like it's almost 100% tech focused, but it is a business degree. So I took tons of business courses, right? And like all I could think about setting up like my $1 memberships was like, hey, you're probably leaving lots of money on the table here, like because you're not, you know, supply and demand, all of that. Like you're not juicing your revenue or your income, right? You can probably find a sweet spot. I'm like, doesn't add like stop myself. It's not about that, right? I don't need to like. It's just not. It doesn't matter. And like, I almost caught myself in the sense of like just so focused on like juicing basically profit or revenue, right? Because it's just the thing you're supposed to do when you have a business, right? You're supposed to juice the revenue and profit. You're supposed to like make lots of money. I have no monetization plans at all, KFC. The simpler I can make it, the better. I like simple. But no, like I just like considering how I view myself, like me catching myself in that whole mental loop is like, this has got to be a probably common thing with everyone, right? Like I can see it how it's a very easy trap to just like you become a business person, you have a business or you have like your corporate overlord, and it's just really easy to get stuck into the mental headspace of like my job is to make lots of money and just ignore the costs of that, the unrealized costs. Kinda quiet today on Stairway. At least this run. No medium mechs anywhere, no toothy. 100% captain, yeah. It's not even as simple as a Monopoly too, right? It's more on just the sense of like, I mean, Monopoly is one part too, but it's anti-competitive behavior and just, it's like all things, it's a complicated issue. 100% game shift. Yeah, 100%. But like, I feel like game shift too, right? Like, despite that being the thing for the longest time, you can kind of like, this might be viewing the past with like rose-tinted glasses, right? I feel like there was plenty of instances on the past too, where like there were instances of like lots of corporations acting ethically. And naturally, I will say, them acting ethically is probably why they were bought out eventually, right? Or, you know, they failed to competitors, right, who were acting unethically. There has to be, yeah, just, you know, there has to be rules. Or at least a reset, my god. It reminds me of, if you're unfamiliar with Bo Burnham, he does, like, comedy skits or, you know, comedy specials, mostly related to music, like musicals and stuff like that. And he like in his last one, Inside, he had like 2 different songs basically just telling Jeff Bezos, congratulations, you fucking won. Now just like like you won capitalism, congratulations, now chill the fuck out. Here's your little medal, you won capitalism, go next. Isn't the ACA company like notorious for like being like actually evil as shit? I'm not very well versed in the East India Company, but I can't help but think that I remember like hearing things that like they were just like vehemently evil. I mean, I will say, Jacob, a nuanced Lex Luthor is a great villain. In the grand scheme of things, like, I can definitely see the like a Lex Luthor that like is solely about like no one should have that much power of Superman. I can get behind that. Oh, 100% game shift. Yeah, no, things in the past weren't always better. Correct. Yeah, like they're like one of the OG just like for-profit companies with like stockholders and all that good stuff. And they, to my knowledge, right, they, yeah. For-profit company. A very old one too, right? And so like, yeah. All in the name of money.
Zero fucks given.
I don't know, Nestle's pretty bad. But at least like with like East India Company, you probably didn't, well, I don't know. Not too well versed. No, Nestle's fucking awful. All right. Anyway, that's it for everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Discord down in the description below for YouTube. Otherwise, you can do the command in chat and Twitch. Community stream this Friday. First come, first serve. Railgun action. Other than that, take it easy. Q&A in the Discord for Fun Dog. Other than that, bye everyone. Take it easy.